This is where the fun begins.
It is settled then. My wealth will fund the rebellion while Garm provides our fleet and Mon Mothma our soldiers.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
Are you sure? So be it.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the Expanded Universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The Expanded Universe respects the reader. In the Expanded Universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the Expanded Universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the Expanded Universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story in continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the Expanded Universe.
Thank you for him also. Glad you're here. We're going to begin today's work with the woodwind setting at 33. Just winds, please, 33. 1, 2, 3. You know what I think I would like better if the contra plays first and third beat only and short. Do it again, please, people. 1, 2, 3, 4.
On the original films, I was looking for somebody who really understood classical movie scoring. And I was talking to Steve Spielberg about it, and he had worked with Johnny on Jaws and said, you know, this is the man for you. He's perfect. He really understands that medium. And once I worked with him on Star Wars, you know, I wouldn't have anybody else doing it. Johnny really understands movie music. It's not just music laid in there. It actually tells the story.
Did you miss me?
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CAF Chat. Holy heck, it has been quite a time with CAF Chat and even the channel this whole month. A lot going on, good, and I guess you could say bad, I guess. But we are here. We are here, and I'm so glad to be here with you guys. Missed you. And yeah, so first of all, what is in your mug? What are you enjoying right now? Me, of course, CAF. It's 9 a.m. here, or a little past 9 a.m. So I have my CAF, a little bit of creamer, and that's it. And yeah, and I'm excited for the topics here today. We are going to talk about John Williams. Celebrate John Williams, the person who helped create the moments in Star Wars that are unforgettable, the vision George had, and the people that came together with him to put that vision together for Star Wars. John Williams being one of the main ones. I mean, you can look at the art with Ralph McQuarrie and all those who contributed, right? But looking or listening to or watching Star Wars and feeling the impact of the score, the music, of what's going on in the scene, whether there is, conversation in the background or it's quiet or there's action, man, phenomenon. It's amazing how much George Lucas and those others under that are from the same, I guess you can say, generation of film students, I guess you could say. But I'm talking about George Lucas in general, not to discredit anybody else, but just the envisionment that he had on or for his films. It doesn't have to be Star Wars, it can be indie, right? And how the score, the background music really brought in those moments. And I'm pretty sure one of the main ones that maybe all of us did when we were kids was imagining we're Luke and walking up to the edge of something, or just walking and looking at the sunset and imagining a future, probably embracing the moment Luke was in and looking at the sunset and hearing the binary sunset, music going on. I'm pretty sure we all had that type of moment at one point when we were little. And because that's how impactful that was. It's all silent. It was all Luke in his thoughts. And the music just set the tone. The music set the tone. So we are going to celebrate John Williams. It's overdue. I've always talked about the arts and other things, but John Williams, I have a lot of clips I want to share, and I'm pretty sure I don't think I monetized the stream at all for YouTube, because I know, because we're going to be talking about John Williams, there'll be clips of some music going on, just like we did in the beginning here with the Phantom Menace and the Duel of Fates and the creation of that. And so I know that after you play a certain amount of seconds, you're going to be demonetized, So I need to monetize this clip. because it's about honoring of, and it doesn't matter if I make the money on it or not. It's all good. Yeah. Rumble on the Rumble side though, it's a little bit more easier. You don't have to worry about a lot more. It's a little bit more freedom there to talk and discuss and even play the music that you're going to talk about, like for instance John Williams and Star Wars and stuff like that. So it's pretty much easy over there. So everybody who is reporting on the Rumble side, thank you so much for hanging out over there. I am currently still building my Rumble up and maintaining YouTube. And I still want to bring up, because of my channel, what it's set for, George Lucas era of Star Wars, I would love to get it up to 10,000. That's the next step, 5,000, 10,000, and build from there. And it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of dedication. And when things slow down, thank you guys for just helping maintain this channel, coming back time and time again to catch any videos that have already been placed up and live streams that have already been added, and revisiting as well. So let's see who's in the chat. Okay, let's see who's in the chat. And back in the olden days, back in the beginning, when I turned my channel into a Star Wars channel, it was the height of, I guess you could say, The Last Jedi and the divisiveness that happened. Now, even before then, before I decided to change my channel up from my dance channel, just sharing me and my family dancing at powwows and stuff, I was still watching, I guess you could say, some Star Wars channels, keeping up to date on what's going on. And of course, I've always given credit where credit is due. And that is towards Matt Wilkins, who, kept me going and even feeding the possibility of contributing through YouTube, George Lucas era Star Wars. So thank you. And then of course you have Mike Zero, or whatever his name is, with his what if scenarios of what's coming up and stuff. And it was more or less entertainment than even believability, because there's nothing he was ever right on. It was just like, I guess you could say, parody comedy kind of thing. He was so, I haven't even watched him in a very long time now, but during that time frame when he was at his height, I guess you could say, back in 2018, 19, and so on, I watched it because it was just fun to watch. It made me laugh and whatever. I knew it was parody. I knew that there's no believability, but just the sheer joy and entertainment of just watching it all go down. And you guys know who I'm talking about. All right, and let's see here. And then you have like This Explains. I really didn't watch them. Never was really interested in them. And when I came into Twitter and I decided to use my Twitter again, because I think my original account was made back in 2012 or something like that. I don't no longer have it. I switched that to a home base for my YouTube channel. And so I immediately got banned by This Explained and by Pete and all of them, because I was anti-Disney Star Wars, Disney trilogy, the direction they were going with Luke, all of that. So I guess some of you guys probably know my history. And then I was also considered, even though I really never used it, or even like, I guess you could thrown it out, a part of the Phantom Menace, or the fandom, not Phantom, Fandom Menace. And I also had a couple of character cards made of me for that. And so I associated with the group. I really didn't consider myself a part of it, but we all had the same goals at the time. And since then, everything has fallen. There's no more of that, because there's like me, I'm on the end of like, nothing's gonna be restored. Nothing's going to be honored anymore. They already did their damage to Star Wars as we know it today. They're creating their own vision. So I'm not even going to go into the chances of hope, or hopium, some of you guys call it, for anything that resembles Star Wars to return. And I'll keep defending it on my end where I stand, by talking Star Wars with you, by discussing all the crazy ass news that comes out today, and then also sharing the lore and all that fun stuff, right? But I'm on that end. But a lot of people are what we call fence riders, who are hoping by chance Disney will turn around and start honoring George Lucas era Star Wars after 11 years of them not doing it, and further proving that they are taking these characters down in a direction that, you know, was never for them, never seen for them, and not honoring George Lucas era Star Wars. So there has been since then this like shift of the defenders, and there was never a civil war in Lucasfilm when Kennedy was there. It was all grifting just to keep the channels fucking going. And yeah, I was at one point even a channel member for Doomcock during that time. And, you know, like even EVS was a part of this bigger group too as well, defending Star Wars and stuff. And now it's like, it's all about, oh, they're going to fix Star Wars. And now that Filoni's in now, you know, Star Wars is safe. You know, so there's always this Star Wars is bad and Star Wars is saved kind of ebb and flow. I guess I'm going down memory lane with you guys real quick without even saying hello in the chat. Holy shit. But memory lane with my channel and with my experience. And through all that, I was a part of the Queen's Council, a group of us women who sat and talked it was more or less, not necessarily Star Wars, but pop culture in general, real life fun things, real life happenings, like stuff at Walmart, the shenanigans at Walmart and stuff like that. Had a good time. And then I was also part of, what was it called again? Shit, now I forget. Toxic Femme. And there was a group of us, and that all went to shits with one of the, I guess you could say, moderators and founders of Toxic Femme. And I left, Mary left, Chris left, you know, all of us left, and then a new group formed. And I have no idea if they're still going on or not, but it's not the same. It's not the same how we talked about, what we discussed, the fun we had, all of that. You know, so there's a lot of evolution with this greater group that had this great, we all stood together. It's no longer there anymore. Now it's like, oh, and the things that we used to talk about, safe spaces, now some are also saying, well, we need to, you know, honor those people and basically put them in their safe space and stuff like that. So it's crazy how a lot has changed. And through that, I also supported a lot, and I haven't watched any of theirs, if they still do it, is Dark Council. And there was a great alliance with that. And I loved every single one of them, watching them talk and discuss and laugh and joke. And, you know, of course, and then the evolution of like going on Tim's channel for the spacing. And, you know, so a lot of that, it's a lot of it's gone now. So here I am, OG Star Wars, keeping the channel up. We have Gatekeepers Alliance here, and you know, and we just need to go ahead and show how it's fucking done, right? How we can unite, even if we're not airing together on one live stream to talk about what's going on, the current events and stuff like that with Star Wars and our favorite franchises and stuff like that. We all have the similar mission. We all support each other. So thank you so much. All right. So memory lane, here we are. All right. So today, we're going to talk about John Williams. Maybe we'll jump into some New Jedi Order lore talk. We have to keep that rolling, even though this month has been crazy and we've been having a hit and miss with CAF chat, and I still haven't put in 3 videos that I'm working on. I need to upload those and what have you. But yeah, so here we go. So that, and then we will get into Book of the Week and LucasFacts, as well as Cringe Factor. Now, Cringe Factor, it's going to be shaped around Mara Jade. There's a lot of talk about Mara Jade on Twitter, probably here on YouTube for those channels that really want Mara Jade, because Mara Jade and the EU is gonna save Star Wars, you know. So we have that. Speaking of, we have that going on right now with Griff Trooper. Now I shared that, which was shared in Scroun's Discord. So I jumped on that real quick and shared it with the GKA, Gatekeepers Alliance. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and play this here for my fellow gatekeepers.
Because there's a fucking gatekeeper. There's a fucking gatekeeper.
All right. So we're going to get into Mara Jade. Now, she's one of the most beloved characters within the Star Wars galaxy universe. I guess you could say franchise is a better word. And question, I know I haven't said hi to you guys in the chat. I'm going to get there. I promise, because that's what the Cat Chat's all about. But question, what is your favorite Mara Jade story? So it could be a novel, it could be comics. So share. All right, so CMTJ, good is Scissor Fisted Midnight in the Philippines. Ah, okay, that I was trying to figure out who you were. Yeah, you are over there on Rumble. Thank you so much for coming in, Conrado. Conrado, did I get it right? Did I just screw that shit up? All right. And then smash the like and tell friends about the show. And good morning to you. And of course, Mr. Pisces is being an attention whore. See? Notice me! And I already answered that. But again, for those who don't know, YouTube and Rumble are the places where I stream on. And I do have X now, so it's being streamed on X as well. X basically is just you can watch, scroll, watch and scroll, or whatever you want to do, but it's basically, like I said, Twitter is my landing platform for my channel, right? So that's giving people a chance to say, hey, I want to go and participate in the chat. It draws attention. It draws attention. That's what it's all for. Let's see here. We have Mike in the chat. How are you doing? Wolf is here. Hello, hello. Lucas Gerson is here. What's up? The greatest composer of our time, John Williams, should be up there with Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, Offenbach, Tchaikovsky, etc. Yes, I agree. He is our modern of those guys. He's our modern, and even though I guess you could say, I want to say it's commercial, because his music is being done and composed for franchises or for movies, so there's a different angle. But no matter what, his skills, all of that is up there. The feeling, the emotions that he is, bringing out through the music, right? So he is up there. That is me. And we have Scran here, now living in the United States of America. Our Scottish friend, our Scotsman here in the U.S. I see, and I hope, I'm hoping that you're settled in well, and that all the welcome events that they probably thrown for you, your in-laws, your family has thrown for you and stuff like that now are now over, and you're settling in, and miss you watching your Monday morning, or your Monday, I wouldn't say Monday morning here when you were in back home in Scotland, but it was in the afternoon, I think, my time. Now, hopefully we get to see more of you live. Yeah, so let's see here. I tried, but I couldn't find it. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Okay. And we have Wolfscar says water. I already said hello. Let's see here. And let's see here. Ice cold water. Everybody's enjoying their water, which rightfully so. And then, of course, we have the purist on the Rumble side. What's up? Hey, knock that off. Ah, shit. Got my CAF ready to learn about the Austin verse, right? The Austin verse. Let me see here. I do need to go in and really update my Rumble with all my emojis and stuff. I am severely slacking. I know. T minus 30 days of shills will melt down if Purist returns, and I'm all there for it, brother. I can't wait. OG making herself sound like a granny. Oh wait. Yeah, many people don't believe I'm a grandma, and you know what? That's fine. I am, and I wear that badge proud. It's just another stage of life, and it's like, just another human in your family, not directly like from you, which is weird but awesome at the same time, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Future Star Wars content. Yep, Mike Zero. Matt is awesome. I agree. They're bringing back Mara Jade after killing off Jake Skywalker. Yeah, he was quite a character. And let's see here. Crouching Tyler Hidden Swift. Matt G is here. How are you doing? Oh, yes, I've seen that. In fact, I think one of my posts about Revan, like within last few days ago or so, someone was suggesting Keanu Reeves for him to play Revan. I don't agree. What do you think? I don't agree. Let's see here. Chio is here. What's up? I didn't say hi to you. And Nazo, how are you doing? Diddly Squat, how are you? And Calcite, what's up? How are you doing? Queen's Council was awesome. Lots of fun. Really needed to get all the ladies back for a reunion show. That would be fun. I would be down no matter what. I would be down just to have some fun and laughs and stuff and talk about all the crazy Walmart stuff and all of that. That would be fun. That would be fun. The Babe de Menace. There you go. The Babe de Menace. That's another one. Queen's Council, Babe de Menace. And then the Toxic Femme. Yeah. Cat Chat is my safe space. Well, this is such a weird thing to say for Cap Chat because here I don't hold back. I'm not this kind of lady that's going to be prim and proper. So you're going to get some wild shit from me. So very interesting safe space for you. Very safe, crazy safe space for you. Let me see here. Get it to Marjade. Not sure Luke will approve. That's not the kind of get in I was talking about. Get your head out of the gutter, sir. Get your head out of the gutter, Mr. Pisces. Okay, the Scotch tape. Sorry, I had to. Wah, wah, wah. OG, the G in OG stands for Granny. And there's some stupid idiots, shills, anti-OG Star Wars who they hate me, trying to make it sound like being a grandma was a bad thing. And I was like, do you really think about your grandma that way as someone bad and feeble and what have you? I mean, that's what stereotypes they're trying to evade or put on me. And my culture, we always honored our grandparents, right? We always honored those elders, the grandparents and stuff like that. However, you're talking to a Gen Xer. We do not even properly go by the stereotypes of what a grandparent is. We are beyond that. We're setting new standards for a grandparent right now. And it's not what the classical grandma and grandpa look like. So there's that. Oh, you came back over here on the YouTube side. What's up? Lots of great Mara Jade moments in New Jedi Order. Correct. Oh my gosh, she noticed me. Yes, I did. Hello, how are you doing? To trigger the green dolts, I'd have to say my favorite Mara story is Sacrifice. Whoa, cheers to that. Cheers to that. OG's safe to be toxic safe space, right? This is if you're like just want to authentically be yourself. This is the place to come. If you get triggered too quickly, offended too quickly, this is not the place for you. Honestly, it's not the place for you. And you've seen me when I got to have guest appearances on, for example, the Dark Council, when I was on the spacing, hanging out with the guys. I don't care. I will be myself. I'll make you crack up. I'm not going to be this like improper person because of that doesn't fit me. Let's see here. Everything for a friend. Oh, the Lando. Oh, yeah, it's quiet. Drawer 66. John Williams is peak on fire. Yo, yes, I agree. Let's see here. I am hoping to start up my Monday streams again soon, but I'm not quite set up for it. Yeah. You're gonna have okay. I'm gonna be your producer. I'm taking over his Mondays. No, I'm joking. Suggestions. All right. How about have a couple of guests on? You know, to start your kick off your first Monday in the States. That would be fun. That would be fun. A bunch of brain lollipops. Yeah, bring on some brain lollipops, why don't ya? Don't you know? Okay. Okay. Lethal nonsense, contributing to the survival of the human race. Yuck. Well, I mean, if you don't like sex, then more power to you. Let's see here. Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, lollipop, lollipop. Dun, dun, dun. I have to. OG hot granny energy. That sounds crazy. It does. My granny was one of my best friends ever. These shills have nothing. No, they don't. They think that, oh, she's gonna get offended or we're gonna make her sound less than because or whatever. It's fucking bullshit. My middle finger tells you you're number one. Mara Jade is part of the Skywalker's team as much as Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, and the droids. I agree. All right, with that being said, I did say hi to everyone. Let's get into our little segments of LucasFacts and Book of the Week. I think you're going to like both of them. In fact, I do got to get them downloaded. I forgot to put them in my little clips here, so I'll take care of them right now. But we're going to get into those. And I think that for the Book of the Week, you will actually love. So let me go ahead and put them on or get them ready to go. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Let's get these uploaded so we can get them going. Get them going for you. So you know what's up. I don't know what I'm singing. I have no idea, but hey. So let's go ahead and get into since I'm talking more about it, let's get into the Book of the Week.
I hate to say it, but it looks like the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
It does not exist. All right. So Book of the Week is, well, it is actually a comic of the week. I do not discriminate. It's just called Book of the Week because it sounds cool. So writer W. Hayden Blackman, cover artist Kev Walker. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The picture's there. Penciler Brian Ching, inker Victor Lamas, or Yamas. Letter, Snow Cone Studios, so the letterer. Colorist John Wayne's teeth, hey, John Wayne's teeth, hey. So that's a native song honoring John Wayne, but it's Joe Wayne here. All right, so published July 2nd, 2003, and the timeline's to BBY. The battle for Jabim begins. So this is Republic 55. This is the story that, man, a lot of heartbreak happens. The first major catastrophe of the Clone Wars, one that really shares like the depths of what the Clone Wars is going to be. I highly recommend this. And Brian Ching has some best massage. Whoops, it jumped on me. A massage art ever. Correct. We're going to have to do, and maybe this will be a Cantina Nights, but get into the art of comics and talk about or discuss the best Star Wars artists, comic artists there are. That sounds like an idea. What do you guys? What say you, my friends? All right. So Battle of Jabim, the beginning. Now there's not really any continuity notes per se, so I just put in, I guess you could say, what this is about. So General Kenobi and his first lieutenant, Anakin Skywalker, first lieutenant, find themselves transferred to a post on the rain-soaked planet Jabim. The fighting is fierce, and the vast majority of the locals have sided with the separatists, leaving the Republic's outposts isolated and vulnerable. In the face of mounting casualties and shrinking resources, Obi-Wan leads what he hopes will be a crippling attack on the enemy. But the environment is against the Jedi and the clone troops. The rain won't let up. Their war machines bog down in the mud, and their support is non-existent. This might be Obi-Wan's final mission. So this basically, Republic 55, this just gives you like a little bit of like, whoa, what's really going on? All the struggles, everything going on here. And a lot of Padawans, they lose a lot of Padawans in this battle. We did discuss this back in the day when we were talking about reading through the comics with Steve here on CAF Chat. We did go through this, and oh my goodness, this story here, if you want to get into the nitty gritty of the battles during the Clone Wars, this is something to get into. I just recommended yesterday to someone who likes Anakin's development for his fall in TCW, a reading list for Anakin, real development in fall, and included this with some books. Yes, I always recommend this. If you want to get into the nitty gritty of the battle where losses happen, where hope seems like very dire and all this other stuff, I recommend getting into the Battle of Jabim series. And there is an arc for Luke. And I have stopped, but I want to offer both Battle of Jabim and the arc for Luke, because Luke returns. What is it called? The Fate of Our Fathers? I forget. I probably butchered it. It's probably not that name. But there is an arc for Luke. He returns to Jabim, and he faces, because he's Skywalker, the backlash from what happened with Anakin's decision during this time. Now, I'm like, why do I say spoiler, whatever? This should be something that's known, but I don't really want to give spoilers. If you haven't read it, I want you to go in there with just my recommendations, starting it with what I gave you here, read through it, because when you go in there with, I guess you could say, a clean slate of of everything and you don't really know the story, man, it's impactful. It is purely impactful. So I highly recommend this. This is book of the week. This is something that is so good, but heartbreaking. Let's be clear. OG may be crazy, but she may be a bully. She even might be a little troublemaker, but she is not a supporter of the Human League. Egret pours them out for Master Egret. Also, the Dreadnoughts of Rendili arc. Yes, that too. Correct. Nobody won on Jabin. Press 1 if you want OG to go over it on a stream covering. We got to get past New Jedi Order. It's like been too long. We got to get back into it. I just need to have a whole cap chat of just maybe a small cringe factor, because that is something that just makes us laugh and stays up to date on what's going on in modern Star Wars or Disney Star Wars or faux lores or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And then really getting back into the arc. We do. And I haven't read in the last few weeks, so I am like paused on the new Jedi Order and any type of reading, because I'm going to tell you here, only a few people knew what happened last Thursday or Wednesday, which ceased me from having a show. My car was stolen from my driveway Wednesday morning. As me and my daughter were getting ready to go and leave for work, we leave around the same time. She went outside and my car was gone. So I had to call up the studio owner and tell him I'm not coming in. He, of course, was all understandable, took care of everything on that end, so I didn't have to worry. So I had to make the police reports. My husband jumped in and helped out, and I since have my car now. So I went through all that, but because of all of that, because of how vulnerable it makes you feel and stuff like that, and all the emotional anger and all this and stuff like that, I wasn't even thinking about CAF chat. And I didn't want to come in and have a half-ass CAF chat and just talk, still feeling the way I feel and stuff like that. So that's the reason why. Everything's good now. Everything's good. So I'm looking at next Thursday. Well, actually, I don't know if I'm going to be able to next Thursday. I'll be traveling home from I guess you could say a business trip, I guess you could say. So, but I'm thinking CAF chat or Cantina nights in place of CAF chat Friday night. We'll see, because I don't want to just cancel and have nothing. So I'm thinking of having Cantina nights, and let's get in to New Jedi Order lore talk. Let's get into it and start moving away from where we're currently at in Destiny's Way. Right? Sounds good? So CAF chat next week, Friday night. I'm looking at maybe 5 or 6. So I will confirm that with you as we get closer to that time frame. All right. So which TCW adapts Republic Comics issues like how anime respects the manga? Not these days anymore. No way. Let's see here. Historically, Jabim is a battle like the World War I Western Front, or in World War II, the Italian campaigns and Russia during fall and spring. Okay. So get Pierce, Grant, and Wilkins on to talk about Jabim. I need to make it a panel. It's been a while since I had a panel on my channel. I've been thinking about that. I do need to bring people in. We can discuss something. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Cantina night with some guests. Hell fucking yeah. All right, let's see here. Us. Oh man, the Battle Jabin was so cool. Anakin. Yeah. Poor Luke paid for it. I get what you're saying, Conrado, but no. Defo a troublemaker. Let's see here. Shadows of Their Fathers, thank you so much. I was like Fate of the Fathers. I knew it was something in general like that. It's been a while. Let's see here. I would love to see every comic book from Lucas era Star Wars adapted into animation, from the Marvel comics to Legacy comics, all of them. Oh. Okay. 19 books. 19 books. That's just so much. Holy shit. Instead of Visions or The Ninth Jedi, they should have read the EU comic and adapted as anime. Let's see here. Okay. And let's see here. And I think TCW was supposed to expand the original Clone Wars series. It was supposed to go one way, but after Tartakovsky turned, after the negotiation basically fell through, and bringing in Filoni is when you started seeing the shift of the original intention that was going to happen, where George is like, I want to get perspectives of the clones and it be just of the clones and it's not going to be of the heroes we know and blah, blah, blah. And that totally just changed. We can only get Scran to stream with Matt, and when we trick him into it, correct, we're going to have to do some sly trickery going on, huh? Let's see here. Battle Jabim. I'm not reading. I don't have it up on the screen, but Battle Jabim is greater than the Battle of Umbria. Now, there you go. If Tartakovsky got his TCW, my dreams would have been a continuation of the micro series and adapt comic stories into it. Who knows? But that would have been interesting because, you know, it's all about what George has envisioned. So would there still have been an apprentice for Anakin if Tartakovsky was brought in? Something to think about. Think about that. Because that's the whole reason for the movie. Now, the movie we know that was the TCW movie was comprised of a few episodes or so of the season 1, I guess you could say. So it kind of leads into the season 1 as a series and stuff like that. So introduction of a Padawan. Do you really think that Tartakovsky would recommend or talk George out of it? Or do you think that that would still have been a possibility under Tartakovsky? Something to think about. All right. And Lucas should have gave Tartakovsky a Star Wars movie he wanted in exchange of making TCW. Yeah, the whole thing was basically, you know, he wanted Tartakovsky to head the animation department as well. And he's like, okay, so if I do that, can I also work on other projects? And what's crazy, and I think that got in George's way. George is very controlling in a sense of his company. Rightfully so. He broke away from Hollywood. And all the shows that have came out were basically his idea. Like even the Ewok and even the droids and all of that. So if Tartakovsky like pledged his own show on the table when they were negotiating, I wonder if George felt that he wasn't going to have control. And so that's why it fell through. Something to think about too. Something to think about too. All right. So speaking of George Lucas, let's go ahead and get into LucasFacts. LucasFacts. Here we go. All right.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
Now, what is this LucasFacts that we are going to get into? Something simple and sweet and short. Keep it short and sweet, right? So this is from Introduction to Star Wars Tales from the Empire, 1997. Once their works were published, the events they narrated became part of the Star Wars continuity. Short and sweet. Short and sweet. Tales from the Empire. The Star Wars Introduction to Star Wars Tales from the Empire, 1997. So talking about these stories being a part of the continuity which has made the canon. And I should have put it underneath here when I was making this here. But I think Sue Sony, it was Sue, was saying it's easier to say continuity when referring about canon. So what she's saying is continuity is what makes the canon for Star Wars. Think about that. Continuity is what makes the canon. Whether it is well put together, or there's a little bit of hiccups here and there, and they have to go back and retcon or correct. Continuity makes the canon in Star Wars. So there we go. Something quick, short, and simple. Right there. Right there. I'm almost out of coffee. I'm going to have to play another clip so I can go get me some more coffee. Oh my goodness. Holy heck, I'm almost out of coffee. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and have a refresher break, I guess you can say. And I can fill up on my coffee, and then we can get into John Williams. Now, with that being said, I'm going to put the banner going, streaming across here. And this is going to be for anybody, whether you're here live or not. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you so much. You can answer in the comments this question. What is your favorite John Williams score song for Star Wars? So for Star Wars, what I mean by that is any of the movies. It doesn't have to be a particular movie, or I'm not asking you to have it to be a particular movie like Star Wars: A New Hope. It could be for The Phantom Menace. It could be for Return of the Jedi. Let me see here. What? Oh, I have never used the score thingy until now, and there's all the new updates is crazy. Normal, slow, normal, fast. I'm gonna do slow. Timer. There's a timer there. I'm not gonna use a timer. Oh, you can position it up on top or down below. We'll do it down below. All right, save. And let's go ahead and show it. There we go. All right. So there it is. You can start sharing. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip so I can go run and fill up my coffee mug because I need some coffee. So here we go.
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
And I've always leaned towards if we're going to create something, we should check and see if it existed already to the fans, because it has way more value if we bring that in. And It's like, why would I just replace it with something new? So if we're going to do an admiral, if we're going to do a big military leader, yeah, I could create a new guy, sure. But what about Thrawn? Thrawn is great. Thrawn is a character we all know. Thrawn has a lot of credibility. So then you ask yourself, is it right to use him? And can we use him in a way that's similar to the books? Or are we using him and it's going to go completely into left field? And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU, and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to use it and make it something completely different. That's rude.
That's rude. All right. So got my coffee, ready to go. Ready to go. So if you want to share already, what is your favorite song score from John Williams for any of the Star Wars movies? The clip hurts every time. Position it on top or down below. Never used this score thing before. Normal, slow, normal, fast. There's a timer. Sure, this isn't a Queen Council stream of G sounds like one. Oh my goodness. Jeez. Oh, baloney is such a doofus. All right, so you guys go ahead and share. What is your favorite score? Usually a favorite score lends into a favorite scene, right? Like what I described from the beginning, right? A Jedi's Fury, battle over Coruscant, battle of the heroes. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, such good ones. All right, so you guys continue to share. Let me see which one I'm going to put here first. All right. Before I get into the bigger clips that I want to share, I'm going to play a couple of the Instagram ones that I have saved, and then I can take them out of my book, my tabs. So let's see here. Wrong one. Let's see here. Let's get into this one here. Shoot. There we go. There we go. Let's make it bigger, and I mean the screen. All right. Let's see here. There we go.
At the end of the rehearsal, we played it. They had the music. Everyone seemed to know it. And I have to tell you, it was honestly the best presentation of that march that I ever heard. It had such solidity and such power and force, but also control in the tone and the intonation of everything. It is powerful and forceful, but not forced into some airspace that it shouldn't be. A kind of strength that defines the word. That was certainly my favorite piece that they played. They played it as though they owned it, and I felt very grateful to them for asking me to, or giving me the chance to play it at the end of the program. I loved it.
There you go. There you go. So he was talking about basically after end of show his that he was presenting and stuff like that, that the orchestra that he was given the chance to conduct unknowingly was prepared to play the Emperor's March. And he was so brought back by it and amazed by it, and how he felt like it was one of the best ones he's orchestrated in a very, very long time. Let's see here. There's far too many to choose. I definitely love Grievous' theme and Emperor's theme and the Battle of Heroes. Yes, I know there is, but it's always like good to share. Like if you have a favorite scene, it's not only because the scene is so magnificent in itself and what's going on, right? But it's also the music. It's also the music that lends to the scene. And this is what we're talking about here. The music of John Williams. And it's not only for Star Wars. You have Indiana Jones, you have Jaws, all of that. But I guess you could say one of the greater, and maybe I'm being biased because I'm a Star Wars fan, but one of his greatest feats ever was Star Wars and creating the mood, creating the atmosphere, bringing you into the moments of the scene, forgetting that you exist in this reality and you're all engulfed inside the scene. Like I said in the beginning, I used the binary, I used the binary sunset as an example of that mood, of that feeling, of that ever like just putting yourself into the moment. And that's what that is about. So let me see. I got some clips. There's one I wanted to share. Let's see here. Harrison's music by John Williams. John Williams conducting Imperial March. John Williams. Okay. There's one I want to share before we get into a little bit more. Let's see here. Star Wars music by John Williams. Okay. John Williams conducts Imperial March, 90 years old. Yeah. I thought I shared it here. Holy heck. I think it's still on my phone and where I watched it, so I can grab the link real quick. Let's see here. Where is it? Oh, no. Oh, here it is. All right. Perfect. All right. Because I don't want to share the IG clip of it. I'd rather share the video in its full entirety, but it's friggin' amazing. Oh, I seen what you shared with me, Solo Assassin. I seen it. All right, let's see here. Let me go ahead and bring that up. Okay, but I wanted to share this. And I think this is magnificent because this basically turned out to be John Williams, great Star Wars musician outside of his home. And I think it's amazing. So that's why I wanted to share. That's why I want to share with you guys before we get more into the feats of John Williams, I guess you could say. Let me go ahead and come back to the screen. Let's see here. Whoops, wrong one. Though not inviting any guests right now. Share screen. Oh, here it is. Okay. Awesome. All right. So here we go. So John Williams greets some musicians. So two young lads, two young boys in the front of his home right here. So it's freaking amazing.
He's right there. He said hello. Hi, Mr. Williams. Hi. Wow. These two brave young men. I live down the street. Are you recording?
Awesome.
Hello.
I started to listen. I thought, oh, they would never make it, and they did.
He made it. He's 13.
Fantastic.
He's 13. This is Bryce Hayashi.
So that's friggin' amazing in itself. Stop screen. That those two boys, you know, planted themselves outside John's home and played Star Wars basically. And he goes out and greets them like a gentleman, like you know, a mentor. That's fucking amazing, right? That is amazing to be a musician that young and to probably meet your mentor, someone that you look up to, and if probably you're a huge fan of the franchise as well, you know, of course, no doubt, right? But just to have that and just to shake his hand, what an experience that is. That, oh my God, it just makes me swell up with, you know, happiness for them. Let's see here. And good to see Williams is a very humble and not a prick to fans, correct? So many songs, didn't realize how John Williams basically made music for films that the last 3 generations of people hold up to high regards, correct? And let's see here. And Augie's great municipal band is a speed up major key variation of the Emperor's themes from Return of the Jedi, John. Yeah. Let's see here. I was scrolling to this. Binary Sunset? This friggin' patriarchy. What about non-binary sunset? And Disney used other composers so they can trademark it. Yeah, so other deals with other composers, maybe giving other composers a chance, but to step up in that place of John Williams has to feel a little intimidating, right? Has to feel a little intimidating. John McNeil is the one that stepped up in the place of John Williams for the Shadows of the Empire score. In fact, John Williams is the one that recommended him out. So that's crazy. That's neat. So, you know, a like-minded composer recommending another one. Yeah. John Williams is not Anthony Daniels. I would like to say so. I would like to say so. All right. So let me see here. I want to share, before I get into Cringe Factor a little bit more. Let's see here. And again, we're going to talk about Marjay. It looks like we're not doing New Jedi Order today. So I'm sorry about that, you guys, but we will talk about it next Friday. We'll get into that shit. We'll get into that and see what's going on in the events during towards the end and finishing up Destiny's Way. All right, so let's see here. John Williams, Musicians at Home. Oh, that's probably the one I was looking for, and I already had it saved. Go, Laura. Let's see here. Star Wars. Harrison. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to start with the actor first, and then we'll lead up to George Lucas. Okay. So I'm talking about the honorarium that they do for him. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Knock it out. I would just wish it wouldn't have just started it whenever I need to share. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Okay. Where's this? Oh, there we go. Wrong one. Oh, crap. I closed out the window. All right. I'm going to have to reopen Twitter for that, but I know exactly what I'm looking for, so that's not a thing. That's not a problem. I just don't want to share people's stuff. All right. Here we go. Make that bigger. Meaning the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the 28th AFI Life Achievement Award, Harrison Ford.
The damn music followed me. Played every time I walk on a stage, every time I walk off a stage. It's worse than that. Was playing in the operating room when I went in for my colonoscopy.
Oh, shit. Pun intended.
John, I'm not complaining. To play a character graced by John's music is, of course, a real gift. The collaboration between filmmaker and composer, how a score is used, how the music is spotted, is critical to the success of the film. Take, for instance, this example, Marion's theme from Raiders. You'd expect it might play under Marion's entrance, but when Indy first sees Marion again for the first time in the bar, there's no music at all. But watch this. Marion. encourage us to feel. It's an example of entertainment elevated to art. John, you're a genius.
So hopefully, because it was buffering on my end, it didn't buffer on your end. Let's see here. Let me go ahead. I need to pull up Twitter again so I can pull up the links that I have sent to a chat. Let's see here. So let me get into that. So hopefully that, because I know it buffered on my end. I also love the renditions of the I can't read that, Marsh in the Last Crusade. Yeah. I'm not going to try to butcher that. It's one of them where it's like, All right. Let's see here. I hate when my things are moving slowly. Stupid. I'm in my my yoga studio, not in my art, so it could be because I'm there. Let me see here. And let's now get to, I want to play George Lucas last. So we'll get into, where is it at? Where is it at? Steven Spielberg's. So Steven Spielberg's praise, I guess you can say. All right. Let's open that up. Okay. Screen share. Do, 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 do. All right, let's. Why is it not wanting to play? Hopefully, you guys can see that.
After making 27 films together across 43 years, yeah. I think I can at least try to explain what he does. And it goes something like this. First, everybody except John makes the movie. Thousands of people from all over the world working together for months, sometimes for years. And then finally, we show our work to John. And in fact, I think that's why it's called a work print. And he doesn't begin immediately. In fact, one of the most important steps in the process often goes unnoticed. And it's called the spotting session. And it's when we decide what scenes should have music and what scenes should not have music. And it sounds simple, but great composers like John know that the power of music also lies in the absence of music. So that would be step one. Now look at a scene like this. This is the kind of shape our films are in when we finally show it to John for the first time. Now, John watches the movie and he goes back to his house and he sits alone with a yellow pad and a pencil at his 100-year-old Steinway piano, and he begins to write. The violins play these notes exactly this time and exactly at this tempo. The flutes do this, the brass plays here, then the percussion comes in over there. And some of these orchestrations are as complex as Debussy and as accomplished as Stravinsky. But at last, he hands this gigantic mathematical puzzle to an orchestra of nearly 100 people. And it is during this arranged marriage of image and music that audiences fall in love with these movies. Now, this footage nobody has ever seen before. This is from 1982, the scoring session for E.T., and I'm behind the camera, a Super 8 camera, doing my best to capture John at work. So here's the man behind the curtain. He's scoring the scene where the mom, played by Dee Wallace, first sees E.T. Now, This is what I really want to show you with rough audio and bad focus, because you will hear and you will see the very moment that John waves his baton and creates movie magic.
Don't cringe, please.
Without John Williams, bikes don't really fly, nor do brooms in Quidditch matches, nor do men in red capes. There is no force. Dinosaurs do not walk the earth. We do not wonder. We do not weep. We do not believe. John, you breathe belief into every film we have made. You take our movies, many of them about our most impossible dreams, and through your musical genius, you make them real and everlasting for billions and billions of people. So it is my honor to be up here tonight to say to you, my lifelong friend and my colleague, congratulations.
Holy heck. Said it right there, right? What? Nope, we're not going to watch that. We don't care about The Force Awakens. All right, let's see here. Where's Lucas's one? Harrison Ford, Steven Spielberg. I know I shared it. Stupid chat. Where is the Lucas one? Steven Spielberg. Where is it? Okay, where is it? I know I shared it. Damn it. Steven Spielberg, Harrison. Where is it? What do you think? Did he hit it on the nail about John Williams and the movies and stuff? All that he scored for, the moments that he put in through the songs, through each note, through each instrument that's being played. Let's see here. Where is it? I thought I shared it. Holy heck. And that even when you looked at like when it shared the score for E.T. and them on the bike, and when it got to the part where you show them and they're pedaling and you see the whole bike and stuff, there was even a bit of like sounds that sounded like it was like the pedaling as well. So very, very creative. Let me see here. I want the... I'm going to pull up another video real quick of that to see if I can get the recommended George. Let's see here. John Williams. Let's see here. Where is the Lucas one? I thought I had it shared, saved. Damn it. Darn. Oh, here we go. Awesome. Just when I thought I was organized, I wasn't that organized, but that's just the way it goes, right? All right, so let's play the Lucas one and we'll get into the cringe factor and then start calling this a day. Let's see here. So George Lucas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the 33rd AFI Life Achievement Award, George Lucas.
Is there music in space? It's a question best answered by a story. Back in the 1940s, Alfred Hitchcock was making Lifeboat. And because the entire movie takes place on a small boat afloat in the ocean, Hitch asked, if these people are alone and adrift at sea, where is the music coming from? The composer responded, the same place you set your camera. So, yes, if there's music in the middle of the ocean, there's music in the galaxies far, far away. Music is the magic dust of movies. I'm happy and proud to be standing here years after I first heard the score to celebrate the man who wrote it. You see, Star Wars was meant to be a simple hero's journey, a fantasy for young people. And then John wrote the music, and he raised it to a level of art, popular art that would stand the test of time. What I'm trying to say is, you made my life so easy. I had so many ideas for other movies, but I never got to them because you ensured that Star Wars would endure forever. And then you did it again with Raiders of the Lost Ark. Steve and I sat on the beach to talk about the story for Indy. And instantly, we both said at the same time, John has to write the music. Steve said, great, that's the most important part. Let's go have lunch and we can write the story later. There is nobody in our world or any other that is more talented, more generous, more kind than you, John. Congratulations and thank you.
All right. So there you go. John Williams, an amazing composer, music writer that has shaped our favorite franchises, our favorite movies back in the 70s, the 80s, and even into the 90s as well. You know, with Star Wars, Indy, and even like Jaws and other movies like, you know, E.T. and stuff like that. Amazing. Setting the tone and the feeling of the adventure of the show. Now that's funny. George Lucas right there. I said in the comment about George's resting bitch face. That's not a negative towards him. We just know that's just George's expression. He comes in with his stoic look and tells jokes. And this is why I think people can't even distinguish between George Lucas joking or not. So let me see. It's shame Tim will never know the Jaws score. I know. I was thinking about that when I was talking about that. You got it. We were on the right track here. So Superman, correct. And yeah, so amazing guy here. And I just wanted to, like, all of a sudden, all these things started popping up on John Williams for me yesterday. And so I was sharing them and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? We need to talk. We need to go in and talk about John Williams with Star Wars and how it set the mood, right? How it took us and put us into the world, made us forget about our everyday life for the moment, right? And the adventure of it, of the scenes, or the quietness, or the heartbreak of, or whatever. Like you have the Battle of Heroes. We know Anakin's falling. We know he's fallen already. We knew that he fought against Obi-Wan at one point. That's even in the OT novels, right? That fiery lava duel, and stuff like that. But to see it on screen, having the music hype up the drama of it, the feel of it, And then you have that Return of the Jedi throne room scene of Vader really get into Luke's psyche, revealing that now he knows about his sister and using that to make Luke respond. Getting into the duel, the desperation of Luke wanting to protect his sister, the anger that it set upon him because Vader, said, well, if you're not going to turn, your sister will, and the music behind it. Setting the tone, setting the drama, getting us captivated by what's going on. George, we always say George, brought us this phenomenal story of the hero's journey through space wizards in space, basically. And that's true. That is absolutely true. But without the music, it doesn't have the depth. Does not have the depth. At all. At all. Jedi Fury is one of my favorite music from Star Wars, and especially because of the scene, which peak Star Wars moment. Yes, I agree. And then when you go back and you get a chance to listen to the audiobooks, audibles of Star Wars, of the Star Wars novels written, whether it's post Return of the Jedi or not, we hear the scores, the music of John Williams being played for certain, instances in the book. And it brings you back into Star Wars. It brings you back into the Star Wars galaxy, I guess you could say, into the moment. Into the moment. And it's done so well that if you hear, let's see here, what's an example? If you hear the Battle of Heroes, for example, the score, for an instance in one of the novels, and right now the audibles, I can't really pin one to it, but you hear that it's played in background in a scene where something's going on, dueling or what have you. It's done so well for that moment that it still keeps you in the moment. You don't say, oh yeah, this is for blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't take you out of the moment to refer back to Revenge of the Sith. But you know where that score is from because it's done so well. There's instances where certain scores are reused in some books and stuff like that where you're like, it just doesn't fit, and it takes you out of the moment, right? So score matters, songs matters. It creates the mood, especially if you're in, like, for visuals and even for the audiobooks as well. All right, and speaking of our novels and stuff, we are going to get into Mara Jade. So I'm going to go ahead and take this banner down. And I did ask, what is your favorite Mara Jade, novel? Or scene from a novel? Or even comics? What is your favorite Mara Jade storyline, I guess you can say? And why? And why? And the reason why I'm saying this is due to, and I'm going to bring up the article right now. And we'll get more into this. Let's see here. Where is the article? There we go. And it's from yours truly, Screen Rant. So need I say more? Need I say more for Cringe Factor? So we'll get into that here. I'll play the little clip for Cringe Factor because I love the little clip. Let's see here. But I'm going to share this anyways. All right. So cringe factor. All right. Okay. Let's get into that.
So uncivilized.
Why is everything running slow for me? Come on, you need to play.
So uncivilized.
So uncivilized. There we go. Let's get out of this stuff here. There we go. So there's been a lot of talk going on regarding Mara Jade and so on and so forth, that I've been like engaging in some conversations regarding her on Twitter on like what did Zahn, or what was Zahn's intention with what Mara Jade's true attire is supposed to be and all this other stuff. So, but why is she being discussed? We're going to get into that. Now we do have like Rift Trooper coming in with the EU. If they brought the EU back, could it say Star Wars kind of video that was recently done within the last 12 hours, I guess you could say, on his channel. I only went through some instances of it. I didn't watch the whole thing or whatever. But I guess he's not a fan of Luke marrying, and he also says, "Oh well, George wasn't a fan of it either." Basically, he approved it, and that it's confirmed by the authors and stuff. So whether he was a fan of it or not, that's something that is a debatable, can come up for debate, right? Because we know if George didn't want anything particular to happen to the main Star Wars characters like Luke Skywalker and stuff, then that is he has ultimate say. He allowed the marriage, but then again, when it comes to Jedi marrying for the PT era, and that's where that particularly was for the PT era, he also let Coyote Mundi, he approved that with him having, multiple wives for the sake of the species to procreate and keep the species alive and going. So we have that as well. So there's conflicting aspects of that. There's conflicting aspects of that, but I'm not worried particularly about if a certain YouTuber or a grifter likes or does not like the fact that Luke got married. But we know that Mara Jade necessarily wasn't made for the sake of Luke's marriage. He was, what Zahn has said is that she is Luke's foil, I guess you can say. But over the time frame, it was revealed that that was the intention of Mara Jade and Luke. That's why you have Callista being written out and so on and so forth as a love interest of Luke, because they knew exactly the direction they were going to go with Mara Jade. Again, if that was not the case for Mara Jade and Luke to be married, it wouldn't have happened. Lucas would not have let it happen. So let's see what Pierce is saying. Out of all the Rumble Fest's videos Shield Trooper makes, the one pertaining to the EU is the shortest. Haha, fraud, parrot, and Ray lover. Yeah, and he's even said, like before, like, don't be talking about my videos if you have not watched my rendition of the sequel trilogy and you haven't watched it or whatever and know what I'm doing, then don't talk about it. Well, I have the same thing for you, Shield Trooper. You haven't read the EU or anything, you know nothing about it. You really don't know nothing about a lot of its development behind the scenes and stuff, so don't fucking talk about it. And then he goes on to wanting the EU to be recreated under Disney because it could save Star Wars. So earlier I talked about like my history within my platform and my channel of Star Wars and how I came in to changing my channels as a George Lucas era of Star Wars channel, going through the same, going through with a group of people sticking up and talking about Star Wars after, the buyout and stuff like that, and the evolution of it, and people falling out and going their ways, and people on the fence with the hopium of maybe if so-and-so comes in, Star Wars is saved, or maybe if a certain EU character comes in, Star Wars can be saved. So we're still seeing the same nonsense as we have been seeing before. Anything pertaining to a character, to a story, or even an event like the Gorman Massacre, it's not going to save Star Wars. It's not going to save Star Wars. We're past that point of Star Wars being authentically what it was before the buyout versus now. Whether if you're on the thing of like George didn't care about the EU or not, that right there, that ship has long sailed. Why? Because when you look at the actions of how Star Wars was created as a franchise, all the actions, everything that was set forward was the EU is canon to the Star Wars story. And that was the focus of the company. No matter what George may have said in one interview versus another, we know George, he was very contradicting in what he talks about from one moment to another. And we know that his main focus was films because that's what he went to school for. He's not an author. He's not basically a writer. He loves comics, but he's not a comic writer either. So, yeah. So in the conclusion, and the reason why Disney had to throw out the EU, because it was canon. It may not have been the non-movable part of Star Wars, which is the 6 movies, because that's what the foundation of Star Wars is, right? And I've said this time and time again. You guys heard me repeat this many times. The movies are the foundation that everything was built on. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But George even changed the movies up somewhat with the special edition OT. Think about that. So with that being said, we're getting into characters here. Characters of the character Mara Jade. Character of Mara Jade. And so what is this fuss about with her? With Star Wars officially confirms the return of Mara Jade Skywalker. Return of, where did she go? Well, going back to the canon issue. Returning back to a canon, back to Star Wars. So that means it was all official, then it was tossed for a clean slate for like the filmmakers and so on and so forth, right? So they don't have to worry about having to, stay with the historical events that was already established before they came on board, right? She's returning now to what is known as Star Wars, but it's not the Star Wars that she was made for. So return is kind of a loose canon here, I guess you could say, because returning from one Star Wars pre-Disney to Disney are two different things, right? But they're talking about canon. What was old canon versus now what is new, right? At least that's what they think. And I recommend my Tim's Canon, his little historical documentary about canon and how canon's not canon is something that is created through the original author, basically George Lucas, and also I guess you can say affirmed, confirmed, made official, approved by the author, the original creator, to be a part of that if other creators were brought in. All right, but that's another story within itself. Let's get back. So Mara Jade's return to Star Wars. No, we're talking about a whole different Star Wars. So being brought into Disney Star Wars. So this is by Stephen Gerard. And this was look at his profile or anything. We're not going to do that. So despite being one of the most iconic Star Wars characters outside of the major live actions and animated project, Mara Jade is one character that unfortunately hasn't been able to claw her way back I think she'd be clawing her way out of it because she wouldn't be Mara Jade in the new Star Wars full lore, right? Back into the canon aside from side of the franchise. Okay. Well, some concepts from Star Wars Legends or Star Wars Expanded Universe have trickled through into Disney Star Wars projects over the year to allow for new storytelling potential of certain fan favorite characters like Mara Jade to make its way over. I guess if that's what you say. So announced on the official EA forums, developer CG Meathead revealed that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes will be receiving a series of updates as part of the Myth and Legends era. So this is Myth and Legends. Mind you, is it really coming back into what they call canon now for Star Wars? No, what they're doing is saying, oh, these are mythologies. These are legends. These are just fake stories that were made up that we can look up to or what have you. It's not official. The way modern day treats myths and legends, they treat them poorly. You can look into the Odyssey. We talked about this last CAF chat, right? That are bringing numerous characters from early concept art, fan concepts, and even Star Wars Legends, so Star Wars Expanded Universe, into the free to play mobile experience. First playable appearance of there's Mara Jade. She has her own game. But notice this. This is Myth and Legends. These are concepts from fans and early concepts of prior to Disney of art and characters and even characters before Disney, meaning this is not really canon to Disney. If you want to go into looking into the hierarchy of canon that was established pre-Disney, that is like a way of Leela and Chi to keep account of what character was made where. You can say the game is either S canon or N canon, non-canon. This is just a nostalgia gameplay to get people hyped up because, oh, we get to play Mara Jade again. You see where this is going? Let's see what you guys are saying. I wish George had included Mara Jade's scene in Jabba. Oh, no, we'll get to that. In Jabba's palace from the radio drama of episode. Yeah, so it's still G canon. He just never added any more scenes. I mean, if he started adding scenes, it will take the movie off a little bit more than what he contributed to. So, but I get what you're saying. But oh, gee, Lucas never cared about the EU. Yeah. The official Star Wars is Rey using Skywalker's surname as a disguise. Myth and Legends equals Member Berry's fodder. There you go. There you go. So this is right there to ever talk about Mara Jade. To people even saying, well, her costume with the green outfit she's wearing is exactly what Zahn wanted, but not the black quote unquote cat suit that she wears that people know her by. And then I was like, hey, dude, I responded to it. I quote retweeted. Timothy Zahn had Mara in basically that same outfit for Allegiance. So I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, so the first official game that lets you play as Mara Jade was in 2005 release of the Empire at War strategy game. And yes, that was mostly canon. Along the version of Mara Jade towards the end of her story, wielding a blue lightsaber, fans can also expect to see Ronin from Star Wars Visions, early concept variants of Stormtroopers and Luke Jackson, and from the Legends comics, the Legends comics, and the most surprising of all, Darth Jar Jar. So these are all just non-canon, what is non-canon to Disney. I guess you could say, characters. So does this mean she's officially put in Disney Star Wars? No. These are just nostalgic memory type game to get people out there to buy the game so that they can experience and play Mara Jade and other characters. For some fans, it may be slightly disheartening to see that Mara Jade is being included alongside the likes of joke characters and concepts that never existed outside some early drafts. So joke characters, Darth Jar Jar. It's Disney's fucking choice on how they're arranging this. And I can care less. It's just a game that has nothing to do with bringing her into Disney faux lore. Nonetheless, I'll say this before I carry on that sentence. And her to be in this game is just nostalgia bait to get people to buy. It's a money laundering game. So nonetheless, it is at least a sign that Disney's era of Star Wars can't acknowledge the existence of Legends content that fans have been begging to see get an official return for decades at this point. This is not a fucking return. So quit hyping it up as a fucking return. It's not. This is just a nostalgic bait type of game that you can play that is non-canon to, or I guess you could say non-canon if you want to use that word, to Disney Star Wars. All right. So what do you think? What do you think about this? So this game, something that is not necessarily anything to do with adding lore to the Disney Star Wars. It's like a parody game. Sad to say, Mara's included in there only to get people to buy the game. There's so many fans of this Darth Jar Jar concept, they'll buy the game for that. And then you have the Jackson fans. And then you have like Ronin from, I guess you could say, the Visions part of non-canon, that's the anime that can play that. But notice that I think they're even putting Darth Yoda variant in there or something like that from what I see on it. These stories are not influencing Disney Star Wars whatsoever. So I don't know what the hype is, like with Grift Trooper. He just jumped on this to grift to say, if they bring in more EU legends into and they start making it, then maybe Star Wars can be saved. That's the hope grift, right? You're not against Disney Star Wars whatsoever. You want it to be better. And more power to you if you do. But it's not going to be what it was. Never will be what it was. That opportunity happened, George. Sold to Disney. The opportunity of maintaining the constant history, the tone, the feel, all of that is gone. And it was further solidified with the toss of the EU. It was then continued, like if it didn't hit you in the face during that time, it was sure enough slapped you across the face with the Disney trilogy. So this is why Mara Jade's being talked about. This is why she's being grifted on right now by people who don't even like the EU. It'll save Star Wars. Why are they saying, it'll save Star Wars? Because they know that the content before Disney was far more superior. Think about it. Every time a storyline, an event, or a character is brought in from the EU into Disney, it is saving Star Wars. Why does Disney Star Wars needs to be saved? Isn't it supposed to be standing on its own merits? So then why is the EU being used as that little stepping stool of saving Star Wars? Because it's far superior to. Far superior to. And those of us here in the chat, me talking, Gatekeepers Alliance, know that. We even know that with other franchises that we are interested in, right? It's always the same thing going on in all the other franchises, but slightly different because the stories are different and how they approach to it is different. But when you peel back, and I'm going to use this analogy, I always do, if you pull back the meat and potatoes and get down to the bare bones, it's all the same. The grifting the same. The hopium is the same. All of that is the same. And then when you see some of us break down these shield shit about the franchise, they're just going off a feeling that it gave them when they first started getting into the franchise. But did they maintain that? Did they maintain their curiosity, the adventure, all of that, past that initial feeling that they got? No. That's why you see a lot of them not liking the EU or any of that, because their level is very surface level of fandom. Yes, I said it. Very surface level, but will still play upon it if it gets them noticed, if it gets them clicks, if it gets them views, even though they were anti it and they're very surface level of fans. And then when fans like me talk, who are basically, I dive deep into the lore, I talk about it all the time here with you guys here. You know, I was teaching, where was I? No, I was sitting and talking with a friend, and we were talking about just life things and getting into yoga and stuff and talking about the energetic body and stuff. Like, I was nerding out on yoga, okay? I started talking about relating it to Star Wars, the Force. So, you know, that's my extent of it. It's like the influence of it. The influence of the mythos of Star Wars. This is getting deep. Surface level fans don't even see that aspect, right? So this is getting deep into the mythos that George created, and then knowing where he pulled inspiration from, including, you can even say including Hindu stuff as well, which goes into yoga and all this other stuff. You could see the difference between a surface level person versus a fan that is, I guess you could say, a very fanatic. EU elite, or whatever you want to call, right? Yeah. So here we are. Another round of, oh, if they do this, Star Wars is saved. Another round. I was just talking about this about maybe not even a month ago. Watch the patterns. See what happens. It's the same thing. Wash, rinse, repeat. And these people who are grifters are not super fans, I guess you could say, elite, or whatever you want to call them. They're surface level. Very surface level. But they're using it to gain attention, to gain clicks, to gain views, where I could sit here and talk with you all day about an event in the new Jedi Order. And yet I'm the bad one because I know a lot. I can correct you on something. And when you accept corrections, your knowledge is expanded a little bit more. When you refuse it and you start calling people names because they're a nerd and they're correcting you and you get offended, you're a dumbass. You're a fucking dumbass. That's all I got to say about that. Star Wars is saved, guys, right? The smartest thing, the most wisest thing to do is accepting correction. But no, when you get offended by it, then you're calling the person who is setting things straight, because the more you know. I'm sharing my age, Gen X here. The more you know. Now I am a know-it-all. And people are offended by know-it-alls because it makes them feel fucking stupid. Well, you're a fucking idiot for not accepting the correction. So then now you know, and you can share that knowledge and power. I can go on about this or whatever. So nothing has changed. Mara Jade's being talked about because, oh, she's going to appear in a non-canon, quote unquote, non-canon Disney Star Wars game just for nostalgia. So you can get the joy of playing her on screen. That's it. That's all. So what do you guys think? Are you guys a bit curious about the game? Bag and Wham fans are LARPers, correct. You got these Johnny-come-lately frauds and those arrogant know-it-alls, snot-nosed brat. Facts don't care about your feelings. Yep. All right. So we're going to begin to close here. I'm going to go hang out by the pool here soon and pick up some lunch for the fam, all of that. Yeah. So OG is going to go by the pool, hang out, get some sun, new summer things, you know. So next Friday, Cantina Nights, we'll get into New Jedi Order. I'm going to take my notes and Destiny's Way, and we're going to end that event's timeline and move into the next. Even though I'm read past that already here on the channel, we're not that. So my reread, we're past it. It's not like I'm reading it for the first time. Yeah, and we'll sit back. We'll talk about New Jedi Order. I still didn't even do my the Star Sky Sith Eye painting that I want to. So maybe we can look at pictures, because I haven't decided on a few pictures. So maybe I can get a vote of you guys on pictures during that time as well. So with that being said, let's close this out. If you're catching the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. And please share with me your favorite Star Wars or Mara Jade story. We need to do a Gatekeepers of the Holocron in August. I've been slacking. Yes, we do. Let's do it. Throw out some dates and we'll make it happen. I'll be there. I will be there. All right. And so with that being said, thank you guys so much. There's all of us keeping it in front of your face, the real, true, authentic Star Wars, even Marvel, all of that. That's what we're here for. Not a grift. Just pure love. Just pure love. Yes. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for hearing my little story about what happened to my fucking car. That was fucking crazy. Everything stayed on the res. Didn't go off the res, thank God. But damn, that shit was crazy. All right, you guys are amazing. Thank you for hanging out. And I will see you next Friday with Cantina Nights, not CAF Chat. So I'm encouraging you to bring your best drink ever that you like. Let's talk. Let's get back into New Jedi Order. We're not done with that. It's 19 books. Ugh. We're like over halfway, but we're not done yet. But hell, we've been having some fun. We don't give up. We read the stories. We talk about the stories. We have fun with the stories. Because we are intelligent people. Reading makes you intelligent. All right. So you guys have a great day. And I shall talk with you later.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure at this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the New Jedi Order.
Another happy landing.